Hello, everyone. It is I, your beloved associate producer, V.A. Moreno, and Pickle is still running a marathon around the world, so that's where she's been. And then we also have Tepper.
What an intro. We also have Tepper. That's a very...
We never gave him.
We don't need to go out for Tepper. We have Tepper at home. You know? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the pre-show for the free show. I'm Greg. That's V.A. Moreno. So I was out of the country this weekend.
You were!
A buddy of mine is getting married, and he lives in Boston. And so he decided that he would like his bachelor party, probably the last bachelor party I'll ever attend.
Why?
Because I'm old. He wanted his bachelor party to be in Toronto. Now, I've never been to Canada. So flew up to Toronto. Actually, I believe Matt Stepp was flying back from Toronto the same day. Like, we passed each other in the air.
And y'all high-fived?
Yeah, I'd give it a little high five. I'll say this, and certainly part of this is that they've only got about 12 weeks of great weather every year.
Really?
Well, yes, it's Canada.
I guess.
And it's horrifyingly cold most of the year. However, great town. Beautiful. We were there for one of the prettiest weekends of the year. We went on Lake Ontario. It was a fantastic. Went to a Blue Jays game. Very cool town. Very cool city. Big, futuristic town energy.
Really?
It's very vertical. The town, it's very tons of high rises. Shocking amount. New York City levels of high rises. A ton of high rises. It was crazy. But right on the lake, beautiful, great food, friendly people,
wow.
International city, very diverse, extremely, extremely cool. One of the things that we ended up doing, we had the Blue Jays game on the docket. The thing we didn't have on the docket that we found out was happening on Friday afternoon before Friday evening was, that's right, a football game. And so that is how your boy attended his first ever CFL football game.
CFL.
The Canadian Football League.
Whoa.
It was the Toronto Argonauts against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
So cool.
And there were probably about 10,000 people there.
Okay.
Good little crowd.
Okay.
And a good number of former Texas high school football stars there. Jarrett Dagey scored for Saskatchewan.
Wow.
Former Lubbock Cooper great. Big Lubbock energy because the backup quarterback I think for Toronto is Tucker Horn. Tucker Horn is the former Trinity great, the former Lubbock Christian great. I actually ran into his dad at the airport.
What?
On the way out, yeah. We were on the same flight heading back to DFW on Sunday morning, and he stopped me. I was wearing my Dave Campbell's hoodie, and we chatted for a little bit. But yeah, Tucker Horn's the backup quarterback for Toronto.
That's cool.
Canadian football is wild. It is a wild-ass sport.
Do tell.
3 downs.
3 downs.
3 down. That's it.
So we're getting hyped on the second down?
Second down. If it's 2nd and 6, that's when the guy's like, it's second down. You're like, yeah. So that was weird. You can score on a missed field goal. I saw this happen. It's called a rouge. That if you miss a field goal, but it goes out of the back of the end zone, then it counts for 1 point. I saw it happen with my own eyes.
1 point?
1 point. It is there's 12 people on the field for either team.
Okay.
Instead of 11.
Okay.
So there's basically usually it's an extra linebacker.
Okay.
And on the defensive side, and then it's usually either a 6th wide receiver or an extra lineman. You can have, and I do think the NFL needs to bring this in, and I think it happens in the XFL or the UFL rather. You can have forward motion, so you can have a receiver who's starting 5 yards back, and he will get a running start, and they will snap the ball as he's hitting the line of scrimmage. So he's got a running start to go and catch the ball.
Interesting.
Yes. Exceptional stuff.
Wow. What was the tally on the end, like at the end of the game?
Oh, let me tell you about the wildest ending to a football game I've seen in quite some time. So Saskatchewan misses a field goal but scores a rouge to go up 8 points with about 2 minutes left.
Wow.
Toronto then executes what I can only describe to be a pretty perfect 2-minute drive to get down the field, score, and then score the 2-point conversion on a fade ball to the end zone. And I have to tell you this, the end zone is 20 yards deep. It's double the depth of an end zone. And so they ran from the 3, they basically ran a 23-yard fade to the back corner. And it worked to tie the game with 23 seconds left. And then Saskatchewan and former West Virginia All-American Mario Alford returned the ensuing kickoff for a game-winning touchdown. It was electric. An electric football game.
Wow.
Also, we had there as a group, we had money on the over, and we won as a group.
Wait, but the scoring is the same. Like
scoring's the same with the exception, it's still touchdowns worth 6 points. You can kick the extra points.
Okay.
We had a kicker. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm missing another part. The field is 110 yards long.
Why?
There's 2 50-yard lines. There's 2 50-yard lines and a 55-yard line.
Oh, okay.
And we had a guy kick a 56-yard field goal. The goalpost at the front of the end zone instead of the back of the end zone. So he kicked it from the negative 54. He made it.
So, like,
I'm telling you, this was a wild-ass experience for me. My brain was short-circuiting, but I got to tell you, I think I love it.
You're like looking around like, you guys love this.
I had poutine and ate it during a game.
Wow.
I'm telling you guys, it was an electrifying experience.
I can already see you with the crowds like, oh my God.
Like, you guys, it doesn't have to be this way, right? But I kind of love that it is. Anyway, Saskatchewan gets the win.
Let's go.
And I'm obsessed.
That's amazing.
Anyway, hit the theme expo. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today featuring Vianney Moreno.
I got excited there.
Yeah, no, we know. She's got a camera on herself. She's like, she's got to hit it. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. You've already seen her. Let's cut to that angle again. It's Vianney Moreno.
Hey guys.
HD VNA.
HD.
HD VNA.
HD.
Today is Monday, June 23rd, 2025. It is 156 days until Thanksgiving. 157. I don't want to lie to you. 157 days to Thanksgiving. So we're closing in on like go time here. 157 days. Happy belated birthday to my brother-in-law. I have a brother. I don't know if you know this.
Brother-in-law?
I have a brother. Yeah, my wife's brother.
Yes. What?
Do you know that my wife married a guy with the same first name as her brother? Yeah, his name's Greg.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
So her brother's name is Greg.
He's not weird. I want to be very clear. He's cool.
Okay, cool.
But like,
Just one brother?
yeah. She's got a younger brother who had a birthday over the weekend. Happy birthday to Greg O'Neill. And then it is also the birthday today of Adam Scott. Today is the birthday of Adam Scott. No, today is the birthday of Jason Mraz, fedora enthusiast Jason Mraz.
Where's your fedora?
And Frances McDormand. So that's an Academy Award winner.
Amazing.
Anyway, it's episode 868. On today's show, folks, we got headlines from across the state, including the UIL has made a decision about girls flag football. We will talk about that. And then back half of the show, it's a beginner's guide to 7-on-7. We're calling it 707 101. 7-on-7 101. We will kind of talk you through what's happening, why you should care even if you don't care, and what we are going to be looking for in the 2025 Texas State 7-on-7 tournament coming up here at the back half of the program. So stick around with us. V&A Moreno, do we have first four through the door?
We have jersey number 69.
Nice.
Matt Stepp.
Yep.
Kyle Ramsey.
Yeah, welcome in, guys. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. Okie dokie. V&A, let's get to some headlines from across the state of Texas. Let's start with something that happened a couple weeks ago, but because of all of our enthusiasm over the cover and the magazine release and stuff like that, we are... the top line should say declines. But we are going to talk about what happened at the state executive committee meeting for the UIL. So one of the things that they were keeping an eye on, this is of course the annual meeting of the state executive committee, where usually you can count on, this is where you're looking for rules changes, right? This is where you are looking for things that will impact football coming up into the 2025 season. And one of the things that was on the docket that people were keeping an eye on was going to be girls flag football. We've talked about that. We've had it on Texan Live. We've had 7-on-7, or rather girls flag football on Texan Live. It's been kind of growing across the state of Texas. And the UIL Standing Committee on Athletics voted Wednesday this was last Wednesday, to take no action on the measure. There were two things that they were really paying attention to. One of them was a shot clock for basketball. I won't get into it. That gets basketball people really hot and bothered about when you start talking about the shot clock. And the other one was girls flag football. The Dallas Cowboys, of course, recently launched a high school girls flag football league. There are 14 other states that have sanctioned it. But right now, they have declined to add it to sanction it as a UIL sport. Now, I think that it's important to read into what the UIL did here. They basically have three options here when they get a measure like this. They can either accept it, they can decline it, or they can take no action on it. And instead, what they decided to do was kind of that middle ground of, we're not going to take any action, we're going to continue to study it. Let me tell you something, as someone who has paid attention to the UIL for a fair amount of time and tends to understand what this means. This is not a no, it's a not right now. That's usually what that means. I would not consider flag football to be dead. As far as Texas high school, or as far as Texas high school girls flag football in the future. But I do think that them saying we are going to continue to study it means, let's talk about it later. We don't want to talk about it right now. Let's talk about it later. Let's get some more data. My guess, and again, this is now me speculating. I want to make sure I'm drawing clear delineations between what I know and what I think. What I think is that They want to see how this girls flag football league for the Dallas Cowboys goes over the next few years. I think they want to see maybe 3 years of data from the girls flag football league and see what kind of appetite there is. Because the UIL does not want to sanction a sport that then is going to have 5% of schools participating in it. I think that what they want is they want to have a widespread success, something that a large amount of schools want to participate in. And so I think if you're paying attention to this, pay attention to the growth. Pay attention to how many new girls flag football teams crop up. That, I think, is going to be the key here. My guess, again, we're just delineation between things I know and things I think. I think we're still a couple of years away from girls flag football becoming a UIL sanctioned sport. But also, the UIL intentionally did not reject it, which means they're keeping an eye on it. I take them at their word when they say they're going to continue to study it. My guess is they want to see the growth rate there as far as Texas high school girls 7-on-7 or girls flag football is concerned.
Having a conversation about it also does a lot.
Yeah, it increases its visibility, and the fact even a headline like the UIL declines to add girls flag football gets girls flag football into the mainstream. It kind of opens up the Overton window about it. So something we're keeping an eye on. Does not look like it is imminent in the future, but it is something that I think the UIL will consider, continue to consider. That's one thing that I think is the big headline as far as football is concerned, coming out of the state executive committee meeting down in Austin. Another thing, this came down last week. The UIL Texas High School Football State Championship games have a new broadcast home. They will be broadcast on Victory Plus, the streaming app that is mainly known for covering the Dallas Stars. It launched in 2024. And they will be broadcasting the 2025 Texas High School Football State Championship games. They signed a deal with the UIL, full disclosure, brokered by Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Dave Campbell's Texas Sports rather, brokered a deal for a 5-year agreement to air select playoff games as well as the UIL Texas High School Football State Championship games. So the Victory Plus will be the new home of the UIL Texas High School Football State Championship games for the next couple of years. Believe it or not, here on June 23rd, we have honest-to-God coaching changes to report. One of them, let's go down to Baytown Lee. Baytown Lee is looking for a new head coach. This was last week, I believe last Friday. Tim Finn, who has been the head coach for 24 seasons, announced his retirement on June 19th. He retires with a 147-109 record in 24 seasons as a head coach. So Baytown Lee, a 5A school, is looking for a head coach in late June, right now.
Wow. This
does happen sometimes. And in my experience, I have not talked with Tim Finn, I want to be clear. In my experience, usually there is a calculation to be made here. And that calculation is Tim Finn is probably trying to make it so that a guy inside his own staff will get the head coaching job. This is usually what happens. Generally speaking, and talking with coaches who have done something like this before, where they've retired very late in the offseason, generally speaking, what you tend to see is, okay, I'm going to retire late. You're not going to have time to do a full-on coaching search. You are instead going to promote my guy, the guy I want to be the head coach. There's a little bit of controlling the timeline here with something like this. That's a guess. I haven't talked with Tim Finn, I want to be clear. But I do think that generally speaking, that's what happens. I would look for Baytown Lee to stay internal. What's interesting, though, is that their defensive coordinator, Spencer Anthony, just took the job at Baytown Sterling. So who knows what's going on down there, but my guess for Baytown Lee, now that Tim Finn has retired, is that they will be looking internally for them. Next up, let's talk about Ozona. This is a honest-to-God, in June 10th, coaching change and a coaching move. Ozona has been looking for a new head coach for the past couple of weeks, with Jared Taylor taking an assistant coach's role in a different district. So they've been looking for a head coach. He went 28-26 in 5 seasons. Ozona has gone and plucked Jason Pitts from New Diana to be their next head coach. Now, something to be said about that is Ozona is not near New Diana. If you don't know, Ozona is between Sonora and Fort Stockton. It's way out west in what you would probably call Permian Basin / Concho Valley area. Way out west. New Diana, way out east. So Jason Pitts making moves here. New Diana is a really interesting job because one of the things, and I know you and I have been doing Math Tuesday segments, and we have very high hopes for New Diana heading into 2025. They've got one of the most electrifying players in Texas high school football in DeJuan Johnson. Their incredible playmaker who put up nearly, he put up more than 3,500 total yards last year in a mere 12 games. This guy was unbelievable, and he's coming back for his junior season. So that is a huge, huge move there. New Diana looking for a new head coach as their head coach, Jason Pitts, has taken the job at Ozona. He's moving across the country, basically.
Country of Texas.
The nation of Texas. Coaching alert in Frisco Emerson. We talked about this. Frisco Emerson has been looking for a new head coach for a hot minute now because their head coach, Kendall Miller, took the job as the athletic director at Plano ISD. Emerson, a program on the rise there in Frisco ISD, led them to a state semifinal appearance back in 2023. They have promoted their defensive coordinator, Billy Ellis, to be their next head coach. That happened last week. Billy Ellis, an established name there as their defensive coordinator. That is, again, not a surprise in my mind. Anytime you've got a coaching vacancy this late in the game, the answer for me is always going to be look internally. And I think that is what they are. That's what's going on here. So keep an eye on that. But new head coach there at Frisco Emerson is their defensive coordinator, Billy Ellis. To Splendora we go. Let's go to Southeast Texas, talk about the Wildcats of Splendora. They've been looking for a new head coach since Brandon Krause left after another 1 year. This will be their third head coach in 3 seasons. It will be Robbie DeHeck, the former Euless Trinity defensive backs coach, will take the job there at Splendora. They're moving forward. So Robbie DeHeck, the new head coach at Splendora. And then finally, let's talk about one other coaching change, and one that maybe you haven't paid a ton of attention to. Talk about Sterling City. Okay, Sterling City is a 2A program it's been making the move up from 6-man football up to 11-man football, and it's been relatively successful for Sterling City. They have been looking for a new head coach ever since their head coach DJ Howell took the job at Fort Stockton. They have hired a six-man assistant at Justine named Kellen Luker. Now, Kellen Luker may be a name that Texas high school football aficionados know as one of the most electrifying players in Texas high school football history. The former Stephenville quarterback and a guy who is most recently, he had been an assistant at Stephenville. He is going to be the next head coach at Sterling City. Of course, he bounced around. There's a remarkable story Carter Yates wrote about him. He went to SMU. He kind of dropped out to start a rock band before returning to football. And now a guy who was, again, one of the most decorated players in Texas high school football history, Kellen Luker, is now going to be the next head coach at Sterling City. They're moving up to take over there for the Eagles. Also, one other thing to draw your attention to on TexasFootball.com, there are still a handful of programs that do not have a head coach. Okay? Do not have a head coach. Tehanas, looking for a new head coach. Pasadena Memorial, looking for a new head coach. We mentioned New Diana, looking for a head coach. Baytown Lee, looking for a new head coach. And Colmsneal, looking for a new head coach. 5 programs here on June 23rd looking for a head coach. A little late in the game, but they'll get there. Fall's coming soon, though. Fall's coming soon.
Fall's coming.
We are Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hey, you. Do you want to get your hands on the copy of the 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football? This bad boy right here. Not Steve Sarkisian. He's a cool guy. I meant the bad boy as in like it's a super cool magazine. Best way to do it, TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Get that bad boy delivered to your mailbox instead of run all over town. Subscribers are our first priority to get the magazine. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. It is rolling off the printer this week. There's a tease. It is rolling off the printer this week. The printer sent me a picture of a completed magazine. There is one that exists. We do not have any here. I promise you. But subscribers will get it, be our priority to get the magazine delivered to their mail. Otherwise, you can start to wait until probably mid to late July to get it on newsstands. But TexasFootball.com/subscribe is the best way to get it at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. You also get a year of Dave Campbell's Texan Live, our streaming platform. More than 2,000 live events on your phone, on your device, including hundreds and hundreds of live Texas high school football games, including hundreds and hundreds of live Texas high school football playoff games. TexasFootball.com/subscribe.
It's like Christmas in the summer.
What's that?
It's like Christmas in the summer.
It's like Christmas in the summer. TexansFootball.com/subscribe. Coming up here in just a moment. So what the heck 7-on-7? We'll talk about it. But first, a word from these value partners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wings drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Joined out here by Hayden Gunner at Denton High School. Man, it's a big day for you. You got your decision coming right now.
After a lot of thinking, with the family talking, stressing out.
Let's see exactly where Malik Hawkins is going to be heading.
First off, I want to start by thanking God. Without him, I wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't be blessed with all these opportunities.
Got 5 schools he's choosing between. We're about to find out who it's going to be. Got your teammates, coaches, family, friends surrounding you, so you couldn't have a bigger stage right here to announce it on. So without further ado, we're going to go to the man right here, Kobe Foreman. Who's it going to be?
I will be attending.
I'll be committed to the University of Oklahoma.
University of Texas A&M.
Stanford University.
The University of Oklahoma.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Back here on Texas Football Today, I'm your friend Greg. That is your enemy VNA, and it is time to get up to speed. So yesterday had an awesome time doing the Texas State 7-on-7 pool reveal show live from these studios here in Louisville, announcing which teams in the 2025 Texas State 7-on-7 tournament down there in College Station this weekend will be playing whom in pool play before they get into bracket play. It's a big moment. And we had awesome watch parties from around the state, people tuning in. El Paso Eastwood showed out, Tyler Chapel Hill, Hampshire, Fannett. We were hearing from all over the state of folks watching the broadcast, and we sure appreciate you guys tuning in. It was a wild, wild success. And perhaps you're thinking, huh? And that's a reasonable question. Perhaps you're thinking, what? And that's a good question as well. So what we want to do is we want to take a step back and introduce you to 7-on-7, Texas State 7-on-7, and what it is and why it matters and why you should be interested. Okay? So let's take a step back. Long ago, big explosion in space. Okay. Earth cooled.
Oh, way
became.
back.
Yeah. Okay. No, we'll fast forward a little bit. So there is over the course of the spring and the summer, there are teams representing Texas high school football teams that play 7-on-7. This is touch football. It is passing league football. You have probably seen this before, but it is essentially, I had a coach once call it underwear football, and I've never thought of it any other way. But it's basically a passing league, and it's an opportunity for quarterbacks and receivers and skill position players to go up against defensive backs. Right? And they play the game on a 40-yard field. You're driving into the end zone. I won't get into the rules of it, but specifically, it's like football, but it's touch football, and it's all passing related. Okay? So, over the course of the last few months, there have been state qualifying tournaments, SQTs, around the state in which teams from all over have competed for a spot at the state tournament. You have to win or, in some tournaments, finish second in order to qualify for the Texas State 7-on-7 tournament in College Station. There are a grand total of 128 spots at the Texas State 7-on-7 tournament in College Station. There are 64 in the Division I bracket. That's 6A, 5A, and and large private schools, which we have one this year, Argyle Liberty Christian. There's 32 teams in Division II, which is 4A teams, 3A Division I teams, and small private school teams, but there are no small private school teams this year that qualified. And then there's Division III, which is 3A Division II and smaller. So you can technically have a 6-man team out there. We haven't had one in a couple of years, but you can technically have a 6-man team out there playing 7-on-7. All of that's to say, we have punched 128 tickets to College Station for the state 7-on-7 tournament. It will run Thursday, starting Thursday morning, and it'll wrap up about Saturday at about noon or so. And these teams, of course, they're divided into those divisions, and what we announced last night was the pool play. And the pool play, these teams are then separated into pools of 4. Okay? So, if you want to start kind of rolling through what these pools look like.
Do you want me to start from?
You can just kind of roll through them, and I'll talk over them. These teams were divided into pools of 4, and these teams will play one another in round-robin format, which means you see right there, Pool I, Fort Bend Hightower, Longview, Plano, and Pflugerville-Weiss. They will all play each other on Friday in the Division I pool play. At that point in Division I, the top 2 teams from each pool will go to the championship bracket, and the bottom 2 teams will go to the consolation bracket, which point they will play single elimination tournament to determine champions. In Division II, you're seeing the Division II and Division III, you will see the 4 teams play pool play. So Chapel Hill will play Columbia, Jarrell, and Midland Christian, right? They'll play round-robin pool play, but there is no consolation bracket. That is only for seeding. All 32 teams are placed into the championship bracket. They will play a single elimination tournament to determine the Division II and Division III champions.
Go Falcons.
Right. So that is how 7-on-7 works. There's going to be a lot of great competition out there in College Station. We're going to be there, give you wall-to-wall coverage of Texas football on texasfootball.com/7-on-7. And then it all leads up to, by the way, 3 o'clock on Saturday. 3 o'clock on Saturday is the Dave Campbell's Texas Football State 7-on-7 Championship Recap Show. Live from these studios, we will bring you highlights and analysis from what we saw in College Station at the Texas State 7-on-7 tournament. And you might be thinking, why should I care? And that is a fair question. Why should I care? I used to be a 7-on-7 skeptic. I used to be somebody who was like, whatever, not for me. Actually, in conversations with Matt Stepp, he was the one who kind of brought me along and said, there's a lot to be gained from this. And one of the things is that it's football. And football is better than no football. And it's an opportunity to see teams go out there and compete. One thing that I think is very interesting, and an interesting wrinkle that I've come to really appreciate, is that coaches of these teams cannot coach. Okay? They are not allowed to coach. So let's take, for example, we mentioned Chapel Hill earlier. Jeff Reardon, the head coach at Chapel Hill, cannot coach his team. It has to be, and by the way, one of his assistants cannot coach his team. It has to be somebody who is not on the coaching staff who runs a team. What that ends up doing, in my mind, is it empowers the players and forces them to be leaders. I think that is a really important thing to see. And so you end up seeing teams that come together and really gel. The other thing that we're really looking for when we go out to College Station and watch 7-on-7 is what these teams look like and how we can view that moving forward into the fall. So, for example, last year, one of the teams that really impressed me watching them in the state 7-on-7 tournament was Ganado. Ganado was a team we thought pretty highly of. Get an opportunity to see them. They're pretty darn good. They won a state championship. Doesn't happen for everybody, but that was one thing that happened. You also get an opportunity to see, like, who's next? Who has these holes to fill, and what do they look like? The perfect example that I always bring up is Anna. Anna, coming off of a run to a state semifinal back in 2022, lost their quarterback. The quarterback graduated. And we were all thinking, well, there goes Anna. They're going to take a big step back. We get to 7-on-7. We end up watching Anna, and they've got a sophomore quarterback named Zyandre Williams. And we go, actually, Anna's going to be just fine. Sure enough, Zyandre Williams leads them to a state championship. Those are the things we're looking for. I'm looking for how defensives play as units. I'm looking for individual star-making performances. Last year, Jacksboro wide receiver Camden Valenzuela blew our socks off, and sure enough, he ended up being a big-time prospect. It's an opportunity to get a look at these players in a highly competitive situation that allows us to see exactly what these teams are going to look like in the fall. Now, I want to be very clear. This is not perfectly one-to-one. There are teams that, first of all, not every team plays 7-on-7. Either by choice, they just don't think it's necessarily worth their time, or that's unfair. They don't necessarily view that as a priority. Or there are teams that don't play 7-on-7 because their scheme doesn't make sense to do it. For example, Shiner does not play 7-on-7. You know why? Because Shiner runs the wing tee. Now, there are wing tee teams and slot tee teams you will see at 7-on-7. And the funniest thing I have ever seen is when you've got quarterbacks carrying out play fakes in 7-on-7. Because remember, they can't run. So, it's very funny to see them just like faking and hoping to catch a linebacker off guard. But what you're seeing is guys that are running their offense, getting those reps in, getting that timing right. The other thing is that there are going to be teams out there that have outstanding athletes, and it's just not their day. And they're going to go get beat by a team that ends up doing nothing in the fall. What we are trying to do as football analysts is to go in there and try to figure out what can we glean from this? I'm especially looking at defensive units, quarterbacks, and receivers. Those are kind of what I'm looking for, which teams stand out in the State 7-on-7 tournament. We will have you covered every step of the way, wall-to-wall coverage of the 2025 Texas State 7-on-7 tournament from College Station starting Thursday morning. We'll have our crew down there, and then be sure to catch us here for Texas Football Today on Thursday. We'll catch up with Matt Stepp live on location down there at the Texas State 7-on-7 tournament, as well as we will have a episode of Tep and Step in your podcast feed tonight.
Woohoo!
And then when are we running it? Is that
running it on Wednesday?
Wednesday, so you can watch the Tep and Step 7-on-7 preview show on Wednesday, and then Saturday. 3 p.m. wherever you're watching this program, you can watch the 2025 Texas State 7-on-7 Championship Recap Show here from Dave Campbell's Texas Football with highlights and analysis from the weekend that was in College Station. Should be a fun weekend down there in the Brazos Valley. Let's go over to Vianney Moreno for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Thank you, Tepper, for explaining that.
You're welcome.
In depth. I loved it a lot, actually. I do have a question. Do you think it's like, going to 7-on-7, you can see like more of like an athlete's personality or like character?
That too. One of the things I'm keeping an eye on whenever I watch is like which of these players are being good teammates. Mm-hmm. Which of these guys are encouraging their teammates whenever they have a bad play? Which of these teammates are pointing fingers, right? Mm-hmm. This is a real kind of, I think there's a real leadership aspect to this as well that's a little intangible, but those are things that certainly I'm thinking of. There have been players in the past who I thought really highly of, and then I saw them just like jaw-jacking with their teammates, and I'm just like, not sure that's the guy.
That's crazy.
So certainly something to keep an eye on down there, but it's great. It's 128 great teams and a great opportunity, especially I know our recruiting folks, Mallory Hartley and Greg Powers, are itching to get down there because they just get their eyes on a ton of prospects down there, and there's some big name prospects that are going to be playing in College Station this weekend.
Little Crew and Big Crew.
Little Crew and Big Crew. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. For Vianney Moreno, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please give me your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Thursday on Texas Football Today.
Bye.